What's up, guys? It's Anthony from Calibrated Power, and we are standing underneath the LB7 project deemed DIY Till I Die. I got my lead tech here, Jake. Jake is going to be my expert on this one. I am not a tech by any stretch of the imagination, and one of the first things on our list for this budget build is going to be pulling the transmission. Now, Jake, you've done more of these in the past 6 months than I think I've ever attempted to in my entire life. So I'm going to be leaning on you with this project, considering that this is kind of be one of the bigger steps where we've got to pull the trans. There's potential talks on pulling the motor, pulling the cab for the other parts of the project we're going to be needing help with. So I want to bring you in, kind of walk me through, guide me on pulling the transmission, and kind of some pain points, I should say, to look at on this truck.
All right.
With us being under here and taking a look at things, this looks like a pretty daunting task for a beginner. What are a couple things to look out for guys who might be doing this for the first time?
Well, for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. This truck is very rusty, but a couple things we should look out for is the trans mount. They tend to fall apart when you remove them. Trans lines, they can be rusty and not want to come out. You got to work them back and forth. I noticed the output shaft seal is leaking here.
Yeah.
So might want to look into replacing that while we have the transfer case out. But other than that,
yeah, I mean, those are a few things. I mean, I think we both noticed right away. I'm surprised the trans lines aren't leaking.
Yeah.
You can see the transfer case looks like it's got a story of its own going on. So those are a couple key points to look at. And I think once we get into this a little bit more, we'll see if any other hiccups come up.
Yep.
I know when I book these transmission R&Rs through the shop, it's roughly about an 8-hour time frame that we're able to knock them out in. So for a guy who's doing this in his garage or on the shop floor, doesn't have access to a 2-post or 4-post lift, what would you say the time frame is for an R&R for his truck?
Typically a weekend.
Okay, yeah, you'd say maybe a day to pull the trans, a day to put it in, kind of something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Clearly, Jake, this transmission is old, tired, worn down. I don't even know how many miles are on this thing. I feel like there's quite a few. So we're going to pull the stock transmission out and we're going to get our DT550 in here. Now that's going to come with a brand new triple disc converter, all new clutches, steels, electronics, gaskets, almost everything in this transmission is going to be brand new. And now the reason we went with the DT550 is, well, first of all, it's going to be our most budget-friendly transmission. I feel like you get most of your bang for your buck on something like this. Yes, this is a truck we're going to be sled pulling and having fun with, but we don't need billet internals. We don't need a high stall converter for the turbocharger. We're looking for a transmission that we can drop in here that's going to be stout, sturdy, that can tow. You can take it to the track and sled pull, but most of all, it's going to be a very reliable, day-to-day oriented transmission. A couple things that I'm worried about, I mean, honestly, one thing is the core transmission. It's high mileage. The previous ownership, 2-3 owners, is pretty unknown. I mean, like I said, this thing's leaking, it's rusty, it's crusty, it's gross. We're really banking on hopefully the core is good, considering we're going to be rebuilding this into a DT550. I know over my years of working with the company and a lot of transmissions we've had in-house, I've seen converters have issues, I've seen bearings fail and send debris downstream, get shit all in the pan. We can pretty much bank on the clutches are going to be smoked. Hopefully no hot spots on the steels or anything like that. So, I mean, fingers crossed, we're banking on the core. It's a $1,500 dent in the budget we really don't want to hit. So hopefully when we pull this core out and get it disassembled, everything checks out. All right, guys, we're going to get started on pulling the transmission out of this truck. Keep an eye out on the next video when we tackle what the LB7s are known for, injectors.